3 in the morning. You're lying in bed and suddenly you feel it sliding down the back of your throat. Thick, sticky phlegm that seems to have no end. You try to swallow and it comes back. You try to clear your throat and it sticks. You try to cough and it comes out halfway. You sit up in bed, choking, spitting into a tissue, eyes watering, while everyone else in the house sleeps. And this didn't happen once, it happens every night. Or nearly every night. For weeks. For months. Sometimes for years. You've been to the ENT doctor. You've done saline nasal rinses. You've taken antihistamines. You've taken antibiotics thinking it was sinusitis. You've avoided dairy, fried food, air conditioning. And the phlegm is still there, stuck in your throat like a tenant who refuses to leave. And then comes that silent anguish, that feeling that nobody takes it seriously. The doctor looks at you and says, "It's just phlegm, take this antihistamine." But for you, it's not just phlegm. It's what wakes you every night, what makes you choke in front of others, what makes you afraid to sleep on your back because you might aspirate and suffocate. I know, I see this every week in my practice. And I need to tell you something that probably nobody has told you yet. Persistent phlegm is almost never just phlegm. It is a symptom. The question nobody is asking is, what is the factory that keeps producing this phlegm nonstop? I'm Dr. James Carter, over 20 years of clinical practice. Today I'll reveal the 7 hidden causes of persistent phlegm that chokes you at night. These aren't the causes you find on Google. These are the causes inside your body, feeding mucus production without your knowledge. Pay close attention because when we reach cause number 3, you'll understand why silent reflux that you don't even feel could be the real villain behind the phlegm that wakes you every night. And at the end, I'll teach you a nighttime drainage technique that clears the phlegm before you lie down, so you can finally sleep through the night without choking. But first, understand the factory. Your body produces phlegm on purpose. Mucus is not waste. Mucus is protection. The airways from nose to lungs are lined with a thin layer of mucus that works like sticky paper. Everything you breathe in, dust, bacteria, viruses, fungal spores, pollen grains, sticks to this mucus. Then millions of microscopic cilia, waving like ocean waves, push this loaded mucus upward toward the throat, where you swallow it unconsciously and stomach acid destroys everything. This system is called the mucociliary escalator, one of the most elegant defense mechanisms in the human body. Works 24 hours a day cleaning your airways without you doing a thing. The problem starts when something dysregulates this factory. When the body begins producing too much mucus, or mucus too thick, or when the cilia stop working properly and mucus stalls, accumulating, sliding down the throat instead of being silently eliminated. Why does it get worse at night? 2 reasons. First, gravity. When you lie down, mucus that during the day drains forward through the nose or is discreetly swallowed now flows backward, directly into the throat. This is called postnasal drip. Second, cilia slow down at night. Ciliary beat frequency drops during sleep. Result, mucus accumulates, thickens, and wakes you choking. And right here I need to stop. Because phlegm production is not an isolated problem. It's part of a systemic dysfunction that connects to the same inflammatory processes that damage your cardiovascular system. The chronic inflammation that drives excessive mucus production in the airways is the same inflammation that weakens blood vessels, stresses the heart, and accelerates aging throughout the body. This is exactly why CardioShield matters for people suffering from chronic phlegm. This natural formula with hawthorn leaf, olive leaf extract, green tea, and garlic fights systemic inflammation at its source. Hawthorn leaf supporting the cardiovascular system that delivers immune cells to inflamed airways. Olive leaf extract fighting the chronic low-grade inflammation that keeps the mucus factory running overtime. Green tea providing antioxidant defense that protects airway tissue from oxidative damage. Garlic with natural mucolytic properties that science has documented for centuries, helping thin mucus while supporting circulation. I can only help the first 5 people who act now. More than 200 people have experienced the difference. Doctor, I choked on phlegm every night for 2 years. After addressing the inflammation with proper nutrition and CardioShield, I slept through the night for the first time in 2 years. Miracle product. Link in first pinned comment. 180-day guarantee. 0 risk. Now the 7 hidden causes. From 7th to 1st, from most subtle to most urgent. The 7th cause. Chronic dehydration that turns mucus into glue. Seems too simple to be true, but this is the most neglected cause of thick, persistent phlegm. Most adults over 50 live chronically dehydrated without knowing. Not because they don't drink water, but because they drink wrong and because they take medications that dehydrate. Normal mucus has the consistency of egg white, thin, slippery, easy for cilia to transport. When the body is dehydrated, mucus becomes viscous, sticky, thick as jelly. Cilia can't move it. It sticks to airway walls and slides down the throat in thick clumps that make you gag. Blood pressure diuretics dehydrate. Antihistamines dry mucous membranes. Excess coffee is a diuretic. Air conditioning dries the air. Result, an army of factors drying your mucus and turning it to glue. The solution isn't drinking 3 liters at once, it's hydrating intelligently. Small, frequent sips throughout the day. And the secret few know. Warm water is far more effective than cold water for thinning mucus. Heat softens mucus viscosity the same way it softens butter. A cup of warm water with a lemon slice 30 minutes before bed can be the difference between a night of choking and a night of peace. The 6th cause, blocked nose turning you into a mouth breather. When the nose is blocked, you breathe through the mouth, and mouth breathing at night is a disaster for the airways. The nose has 3 functions the mouth does not. It filters, humidifies, and warms the air. When air enters through the mouth, it arrives dry, cold, and full of particles directly at the throat and bronchi. The throat reacts, producing more mucus to protect itself. The bronchi react, producing more mucus. And you wake choking on phlegm that your own body manufactured because you were breathing through the wrong hole. Causes of chronic nasal obstruction in adults. Deviated septum never corrected. Nasal polyps that grew silently. Vasomotor rhinitis that isn't allergic but inflames the nasal lining. Turbinate hypertrophy. Nasal irrigation with warm saline twice daily. Not cold, warm. Heat softens nasal mucus and opens passages. Use a 20 ml syringe or nasal irrigator. The 5th cause, vasomotor rhinitis, the allergy that isn't an allergy. Everyone knows allergy, pollen, dust, pet dander. You take antihistamines and it resolves. But there's a type of nasal inflammation that looks like allergy but isn't. Allergy tests come back negative. Antihistamines work halfway or not at all, and the phlegm continues. This is called vasomotor or non-allergic rhinitis. The nose inflames and produces excessive mucus not because of allergens, but because of neural triggers. Sudden temperature changes, strong odors like perfume or cleaning products, emotional stress, hormonal changes in menopause or andropause, alcohol, spicy food, even position changes when lying down. The responsible nerve is called the Vidian nerve. It controls the nasal mucus glands. In vasomotor rhinitis, this nerve is hyperactive. It fires mucus production signals without a real invader present, like a fire alarm ringing with no fire, and you drown in phlegm without understanding why. The 4th cause, silent reflux that spits acid into your throat while you sleep. This is the cause that shocks patients most when I explain it. Most people think of reflux as heartburn, acidic taste, belching, classic reflux with burning. But there's a type that gives no heartburn at all, no burning, no acidic taste, 0 typical symptoms. It's called laryngopharyngeal reflux or silent reflux. What happens? Stomach acid rises through the esophagus and reaches the larynx and pharynx, the throat. Not enough to cause heartburn because it doesn't stay in the esophagus. It passes through the esophagus and goes above, reaches the throat. And the throat does not have protection against acid like the esophagus does. The throat's mucosa is delicate. When acid bathes it, even in small amounts, the reaction is immediate. Massive mucus production to protect the lining from the acid burn. When does this happen? Exactly when you lie down, because the horizontal position facilitates acid rising. You lie down, acid rises silently, bathes the throat produces phlegm to defend itself, and 3 hours later you wake choking on mucus without understanding where it came from. Signs of silent reflux. Constant throat clearing in the morning. Hoarse voice upon waking that improves throughout the day. Sensation of a lump in the throat. Chronic dry cough. And persistent phlegm that worsens at night. Practical measures. Don't eat 3 hours before bed. Never. Elevate the head of the bed 6 to 8 inches, not with extra pillows that bend the neck, but by raising the bed legs with blocks. This creates an incline that gravity uses in your favor, preventing acid from rising. Avoid coffee, chocolate, mint, alcohol, and fatty foods at dinner. And here I cannot continue without interrupting. because the acid reflux that drives nighttime phlegm production is directly connected to cardiovascular health. The same inflammatory state that weakens the esophageal sphincter and allows acid to escape is the same inflammation that damages blood vessels. And the chronic inflammation from reflux-driven mucus production stresses the entire system. CardioShield addresses this from the cardiovascular and anti-inflammatory side simultaneously. Olive leaf extract fighting the systemic inflammation that contributes to sphincter dysfunction. Green tea with antioxidant protection for the tissues being damaged by acid and inflammation. Garlic supporting healthy digestive motility and blood flow. Hawthorn supporting the cardiovascular system that delivers healing resources to damaged tissue. More than 200 people. Doctor, I choked every night for 3 years. The CardioShield approach combined with the dietary changes showed me it was silent reflux, plus gut inflammation, plus dehydration all working together. In 6 weeks, the phlegm reduced 80%. Miracle product. Only 5 first people. Link in first pinned comment. 180-day guarantee. 0 risk. The third cause. Inflamed gut sending phlegm signals to the lungs. This is the one no ENT doctor will tell you. Science is discovering that the gut and lungs communicate directly through a channel called the gut-lung axis. When the gut is inflamed, when intestinal permeability is increased, when harmful bacteria dominate the microbiome, the immune system enters general alert, and that general alert activates mucus-producing cells throughout the body, including lungs, bronchi, nose, and throat. This is why many people with chronic digestive problems, gas, bloating, constipation, alternating diarrhea, also have chronic phlegm. The inflamed gut sends inflammatory signals through the bloodstream that reach the lungs and trigger mucus production. Restoring the gut reduces phlegm. Not magic. The gut-lung axis working in reverse. De-inflamed gut equals lungs that stop overproducing mucus. Homemade sauerkraut, cabbage, and salt, 2 to 3 tablespoons daily. Plain kefir before bed. Real oatmeal in the morning. Eliminate ultra-processed foods. In 4 to 6 weeks, many patients report significant phlegm reduction because they stopped feeding the factory. The second cause, medications you take daily that produce phlegm as a side effect. The most ironic cause, you take medicine for one thing and it causes phlegm, and nobody warned you. ACE inhibitors for blood pressure, the ones ending in pril like enalapril, captopril, ramipril. The most famous side effect of this class is cough and increased mucus, affecting up to 15% of patients. If you take a pril and have chronic phlegm, discuss switching to an ARB like losartan. Proton pump inhibitors like omeprazole used for years can paradoxically increase nasal and pharyngeal mucus through other mechanisms. Beta blockers like propranolol, atenolol can increase bronchial reactivity and mucus production. Do not stop any medication on your own. Never. But bring this information to your doctor. And finally, the first cause, the deepest of all. The first cause. Dysregulated immunity that turned your body into a permanent mucus factory. This is the root cause. When the immune system is chronically dysregulated, not too weak or too strong, but unbalanced, it keeps the airways in a state of constant inflammation. And constant inflammation equals constant mucus production. What dysregulates immunity? Chronic stress keeping cortisol and inflammatory pathways activated. Poor sleep preventing immune cell recycling. Pro-inflammatory diet with sugar, refined flour, industrial vegetable oils. Sedentarism preventing lymphatic drainage. Vitamin D deficiency affecting immune regulation. Zinc deficiency impairing mucosal defense cells. Correcting immunity isn't taking one supplement, it's a system. Sleep, nutrition, movement, stress management, key vitamins. When the immune system returns to balance, the mucus factory shuts down. Nighttime drainage technique. Do before lying down. Step 1. Steam inhalation. Boil 1 liter of water. Pour into large bowl. Add 3 drops eucalyptus oil or handful of mint leaves. Cover head with towel. Inhale steam 5 to 7 minutes. Heat loosens solidified mucus. Step 2. Warm saline nasal wash. With mucus loosened, irrigate each nostril with 20 ml warm saline. Tilt head sideways. Let saline flow out other nostril, carrying mucus with it. Step 3. Postural drainage. Lie face down with pillow under hips, head lower than chest, 3 to 5 minutes. Gravity drains sinuses and lower bronchi toward throat where you can cough and expel. Step 4. Warm saltwater gargle. Half teaspoon salt in a cup of warm water. Gargle 30 seconds. Spit. Repeat 3 times. Clears residual throat mucus. Step 5. Elevate head of bed 6 to 8 inches with blocks under bed legs, not extra pillows. The incline prevents reflux and helps mucus drain forward through the nose instead of backward down the throat. This routine every night, 30 minutes before bed, transforms sleep quality. Patients who choked 5 times nightly go to 0 choking episodes within 2 to 3 weeks of consistent practice. And now the most important moment. 7 causes drive persistent phlegm: chronic dehydration, nasal obstruction, vasomotor rhinitis, silent reflux, gut-lung axis inflammation, medication side effects, and immune dysregulation. Each has a specific solution. None is solved by cough syrup. Everything I taught you, the 7 causes, the drainage technique, the dietary changes, all of it works as a system. And systemic inflammation is the thread connecting them all. The same inflammation that drives the mucus factory is the same inflammation that damages your cardiovascular system. Addressing one without addressing the other is fighting with one hand tied behind your back. CardioShield supports the anti-inflammatory foundation that everything else depends on. Hawthorn for the heart, olive leaf for systemic inflammation, green tea for oxidative protection, garlic for circulation and natural mucolytic support. More than 200 people. ENT doctors impressed. Phlegm reduced. Nights restored. Miracle product. Link in first pinned comment. 180-day guarantee. 0 risk. Your airways are trying to tell you something. The phlegm is the scream. The cause is hidden inside. Now you know where to look. Share this with someone who chokes every night. Take care of your airways. They are the path of life. I'm Dr. James Carter.